course, I've been doing a lot of working, but work is kind of falling over right now for us. So I've got unlimited time on a time schedule to go ahead and get down to the engine intake. Custom intake is almost here. I'm very excited about that. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this car taken the rest of the way down. I need to go over what's in the interior and everything like that. Of course, I got some gas cans here. You know what I've been doing, filling the old girl up with some E85. We're gonna go ahead and pull this engine transmission. I've just been clearing up the apartment, so I actually have some room to do that because we're building a very, very detailed car from an apartment with no garage. So it's always hell, but I've got time here at the house now, so we're gonna get it done. At this point, I figured I'd just break the engine down a little bit more before we pull it with the engine and the transmission. There's good timing chains in here. Hell, those timing chains maybe got 10,000 miles on them. If that, all that's brand new trigger wheel. I'll reuse that trigger wheel if anybody wants some timing chains. Bada bang, bada boom. Great shape, brand new timing chains. I just put them in after I had broke that piece in this engine. We redid the timing and everything on it. Be a solid sprocket too. But I'm just gonna pull the covers, pull this part, pull all the little extra timing components off, get a few other parts out for sale, and then pull it out of there completely because that just makes the engine lighter for me in the end. Okay, so getting down in here, we actually found something hilarious. Piston 1 is good. Piston 2 is good as well. Piston 3. Piston 3 is actually missing an entire piece. At first I thought that was just the shiny part, just like all these. That's not just shiny, it's actually missing a physical piece of the piston. The fact that this engine continued to run strong and healthy with a piece of piston missing is actually very impressive. And I'm pretty sure that piece of piston has been gone for, God, at least since roughly 2016. I ran this engine for 2 more years after that, because I remember on cylinder 3, I had a situation where a spark plug broke, and we really didn't find a reason why, but we replaced it. Engine kept working properly. The issue I had was crossfiring happening from the wires. Those damn Ford racing wires, which aren't worth their weight. I guess when we had some of those catastrophic misfires, it actually melted some damn pistons straight up out of the cylinder. Because of course, you know, bad timing or too much timing will definitely cause some ringland issues. Now we look into this cylinder here, it's just rusted to hell because, well, that's where all the water was really getting in. The cylinder was full to the brim. So when we do the teardown, we'll be looking over all that stuff, and we'll look at the crank and the pistons and the rings and everything like that on the bottom end. But we know cylinder number 3 is like screwed. Cylinder number 3 was already toast. But the fact that there's no odd wear marking or anything in the cylinder bore is actually impressive. So I guess it just disintegrated that part of the piston outright. We'll continue on. Almost got the engine fully out. It's a very hot day out here. We had to do a little movement. I've got a little transmission fluid coming from the bottom end. Whole engine is pulled, so I'll be able to do the breakdown that we wanted to do on the engine just to see how things went as far as modifications go, how that affected the crank, the bearings, the age of this engine, and how it was able to stay together. Once I do a little bit more pulling, then she'll be 100% out of the car. And I could throw this engine on the side, go ahead, part it out. If anybody wants parts or anything, there's some negligible parts. I'll have it all cleaned up. We'll see what we do with that block. If that block is in good shape, then hell, maybe we'll have something, you know, to sell like that. So we'll see. Making progress though. Once the engine is out fully, I'll be getting started on the fuel system, cleaning up any of the extra wires, corroded parts, etc., to get us on to the next step. Getting everything cleaned up outside. The engine, of course, is out. I just wanted to take a look at this here. Look at that piston. That's so clean for 20 something years old and lots of running. I've just got to do some more cleanup here this afternoon, but the engine is out 100%. The only other thing I'll have to do is take this K-member out, take the steering rack out to put the aftermarket K-members in. But Maximum Motorsports doesn't have any of those parts available right now due to the virus. Everything has just been backed up. So I don't know when I'll be able to source those parts, but we're going to try to get them as soon as possible. so that we could get this show on the road. But the next step in this game is we're going to be pulling this engine and transmission apart and looking over everything that may have been wrong with it over the course of its life, just how all the parts lasted throughout the time that we raced the thing. Alright, turn the engine a few more times here. Cylinders look great too so far. I mean, we've only done one, but like, I don't see anything that's crazy. I got another one, and then we'll. Oh shit! There's a little water between this one. Of course, just coolant getting inside the engine area. I'm surprised there's a bolt in the oil pan. That's the sketchy part. Look at that. Looks great. I have no complaints about that. For the mileage on it. Come on, give birth to your piston. She's not gonna come out for me at all. I'm gonna have to thunk from the back again just to get it. Come on. There we go. We're giving birth to a piston now. Oh, hello. Once again, piston to valve contact. I bet that's when that shit, that damn when I lost timing. They're all doing that. That's sketchy as hell that it didn't bend any valves. It just struck every piston, self-notched, and then she said send it from there. Once again, good looking bearings. There was never any noise or knock from this engine, so everything should look okay, theoretically. Like the Terminator would say, theoretically. This looks like I got that on wrong, because these are cracked from the same piece, I believe. All right, there we go. Now we're on the right side. Nice looking. Okay, you didn't hear that. Whatever. I see an R, so maybe that R means Romeo, or maybe it means right. Who knows? Looks good though. Looks good. Let's keep going. I mean, looking here, I see no damage at all. Now, I'm not keeping them true to what cylinder they were in unless I've got a cylinder that I'm kind of specifically concerned with here. But everything seems to be okay. Let's see, thunk a few times. Not on the bearing surface, we don't want to mess the test up. But let's look real close and see what we get. Come on, give birth. Give birth. And now I'm gonna have to fist the block again just to get that into that rod. Come on, you little bastard. I know you're in there. Okay, we gave birth. Here's another one. I think this is cylinder 5. Yep, cylinder 5. It definitely has some impact in the bearing in there. Nothing too crazy looking. And here there's just dried material. This wrist pin is dry AF, which that's just sitting around. That'll do that. Sitting for 2 years. I'm surprised. Well, Pennzoil Platinum Plus does a damn good job, because look at that. I mean, there's still oil on the surfaces even after, like, damn, this hasn't run since the beginning of 2019, 2018, and we've had it sitting and it was still oiled up and ready to go. So that oil was definitely sticking where it was supposed to. Rings look good on this one also. I don't see anything of any real concern. See if we can win the rod lotto this time. Ooh, looks like I lost again. Well, damn. There were some strong rods though, I tell you that. Hell, putting up with 14 pounds of boost for like well over 100,000 miles. And I beat on this engine religiously. I took care of it, but I beat on it. It is so dirty in that pickup tube and at the bottom of the oil pan. Just all the stuff that was sitting in there, and I think a lot of that's from just the engine sitting outside, but still it was getting a lot of trash in here. There's a lot of trash in this engine. What are these pieces? Yeah, there's some of this is like just pieces of shit. I don't even know what's in there. That was definitely a problem. Not something you want to have. You don't want to have a bunch of pieces of stuff in your oil pan. To get the rest of the crank and everything out is to get that torque converter off, and I can't get one bolt on there that's stuck. So I'll have to turn that into a position so that I can wring it the rest of the way off eventually. I don't see anything else going on. Everything looks okay. Bearing surfaces look great. I'm just gonna spin the engine over here so I can get a hold of that next piece, and then we'll make another move from there. So everything that we've got, looking into each bore and each hole for each piston, what we're gonna do next is take this out, and nothing looks too worn out in this engine, honestly. It's like, shit, I could have kept sending it, change the head gasket and go. But that's built for it, tough for you. The pistons are the worst looking thing I'd seen thus far working on it. And well, we know the crankshaft has some damage that can't be fixed. Look good in there too. The bearings don't look bad. These really are like cracked exactly. That's crazy. Let's see if we can, I don't have anything in this area tool wise. Let's see what I got in the old tool bag. I should have the right size. I've always got the right size. Hey, let's see if we got ourselves a date. Oh yeah, I see a little action. Hey, here we go. Let's get that broke loose. That's weird because that other bolt is just like an oil pan bolt, but the oil pan bolts are there. I wonder if it's been in there since like assembly. Look at all that trash in there. Lots of gasket materials, RTV, because there was a 2-valve motor in here. It is a real Cobra. It just had a 2-valve in it running. So people thought they were getting beat by a Cobra, but they were actually getting beat by an NPI GT engine. Burr, burr. Little air horn for them. Just to hurt those feelings just a little bit more. Probably gonna need some type of puller to pull that oil pump off the front. Because that's not gonna come as easy as I think it is. I'll probably have to get a hammer and this. I'll give that a shot first, see if it does something. I don't know if it will, but we could, there's always something else you can try. Don't try this at home. It's not a proper method of removal. We're just trying to get this thing off, if at all possible. It's actually gaining some action. Maybe it'll work. Oh shit. Alright, look at that. I didn't think that was gonna work, but here we are. Guess never doubt the ability of some old school engineering. Shit, yeah, I took it right off. Those are good pieces. Clutch. I figure, hey, we may as well look at it. And you see here is where the doubles were eating into the crank at, and it ate into the crank good. It's honestly not that severe of a problem. Like, this engine would have still been okay. The gear would still be okay because it was a double style. Ooh, that's gonna be hard on it. Especially just on the deck surface. That's gonna be, as we'd say in doggy terms, rough. Anywho, let's get to the next part. So, these are building up. What size were we using? An 11? Yep. There's that 11. Alright, who's first? Alright. Another good set. These bearings have some, definitely have some eating in them. So they don't look perfect at all. And this is, yeah, this is that piston that was all jacked up. The one that took a strike or something once upon a time. But it was still surprisingly sound in there. And it was still making compression, obviously. Because we had no visible compression issues on the car other than probably just being down on power maybe, which would be a compression issue at that point. I don't know. I always felt strong though all the way till the end. So here I can't say, oh yeah, there she is. Mrs. That's like ringland and piston. Even if this one wasn't bad, it definitely was low on compression a little bit. But it just, I don't know, it ate the piston out on that one. Weird. Aren't cylinders supposed to have 2 rings? And this one has 1 ring. That is sketchy. What in the hell? I don't know if anyone's ever seen this. Holy shit, it has no ring. Did they just not put a ring in this cylinder, or did the ring disintegrate? I'm actually very curious about that. Did I drop a ring out of the cylinder? No. That is wild. Come on, Ford. You're not telling me you shortchanged me an entire ring, are you? Because you see here, eventually it broke. I mean, fuel or something probably pooled up between this and exploded. I don't know. I don't know what would happen there. Or that ring disintegrated and disappeared. This is going to be a question for the internet for sure. Is like, did my engine just come without the ring, or did the ring disintegrate? Because there's no damage in that. I don't see any damage in that cylinder to the extent that would show that an entire ring just disappeared. I figured when I was looking in the engine that this little thing here was the ring, but that's just the piston. Add to the list of sketchy things this engine has done. Might explain why the son of a bitch was so slow. It was always down on a cylinder perpetually for its life. But it never had any issues burning oil or anything. That is hilarious. That is going to be, that's going to be the talk of the show here in a little while. I mean, I guess, oh, hello. That bearing took a little trip. It didn't want to stay at all. Now this one might have had some, I don't know, maybe a bearing is burned or something. Or spun, or was spinning, but I don't know. Rings on this cylinder are frozen. like completely frozen. That could just be because of the rust and stuff in the cylinder from sitting. I've never seen anything like that before either. But like I said, if it's just been sitting, then that could very well explain that. Yeah, the rod bearing itself doesn't look too bad, but see if that'll get me something. Maybe we'll get lucky. Who knows? Let's give it a shot. Hey, look at that. We got lucky. Oh, shit. And I'm covered in the shit. God damn it. Might be on the camera, too. I don't know yet. Well, hopefully I didn't get the camera for you guys. But let's see. I guess I'll have to look at the camera, see what I see. Looks pretty smooth, so I guess I didn't destroy it with my transmission flash. But otherwise, it's coming along good. We're gonna pull the main caps off, I guess, take this flex plate off, and then go from there and knock the main bearings out, see what we get. She's a little stuck. We'll give her a little encouragement. There we go. She has been encouraged, and she has been removed. Flex plate, just put that on the side here. Now I'm gonna have to do out this rear cover. So back to more 8mm bolts. Guess I need to get that wrench again. Will be easier on the socket, but I don't feel like fishing a socket out for that right now. I had to switch from the GoPro to the old phone. But anyhow, all the bearings in here look pretty good. Of course, we found that one piston that's missing a piston ring. And that's still probably the most hilarious thing I've seen to date. Was that there's missing the entire compression ring. Of course, that piston was broken on the top. Bearings on all the pistons look pretty decent. I didn't see where any piston looked horrible. These are all the guys there. Got the crankshaft and the mains. Anyone wants an iron block, that block is in great shape. I'm just gonna lube the cylinder walls, clean it off real good, and it'll be good for pickup. Anybody wants an iron block 4.6, there it is. You can put it to use. It's a Romeo. Did get the torque converter off, got everything out, oil pan, oil pump. I'll be putting everything back together, and some of this stuff will go out to scrap, and some of it will, of course, go to be sold for whoever wants a thing. Otherwise, that's about it.